Hey, g'day, Paul Sykes here from the ultimatesingingcourse.com. What I want to touch on today is a little bit of a conversation. Once again, it's another little bit more esoteric conversation than just the nuts and bolts of vocal technique, but it's all around embarrassment. Have you ever noticed how if you are playing an instrument, let's say you're a guitarist, and you hit a wrong chord or something, it's not so bad, but you hit a wrong note when you're singing or you muck a line up, and it can be absolutely devastating. And the reason why is because our voice is intimately connected with our soul. Consider that for the entire time that you've been on this planet, every single time you've expressed vocally anything in terms of love, hate, fear, anger, joy, it's had this sound attached to it, which is your voice. So you cannot really go through life and be expressive without constantly hearing your own voice attaching itself to whatever it is that you're trying to express. And I know there's exceptions to that. I get it. I'm not talking about that. So what happens is our voice is connected to our soul. And that's why you get embarrassed when you hear yourself back. When another person hears your voice, they just hear the voice, whatever it is. When we hear our voice plus our insecurities. You may never, ever sing or get yourself to a point where within your own heart, within yourself, you never don't feel that little bit insecure about your own voice. But what happens is you do enough of it and you have enough sort of vocal successes, whether you've sung on a jingle or you've done some performances, and you've had enough people that come up to you and say, oh, you know, your voice sounds really great, thanks, blah, blah, blah. Where you kind of go, okay, well, even though I think this about my voice still, clearly other people think it's okay. So I guess the answer to this, in light of the fact that you may always feel that little bit of insecurity when you're using your own voice, is just do it anyway. Think about this. There's very, very few people that when you're talking to them, the voice that they have is like, ooh, that's a kind of strange sounding talking voice. And even as you're listening to my, coaching today, the only thing you may pick up if you're not from Australia is that it's an Australian accent. But for the most part, you don't care what the sound of my voice is. You don't care how low it is or how high it is. It doesn't matter. But if I listen back to it, it might. And so that's the same for you too. You might listen back and you're like, oh, I don't like the sound of that, but other people do. So make sure you enjoy your singing and don't get too concerned about the embarrassment of it. Just do it anyway. And if you do have a couple of gigs that fail, if you do have a performance that fails, that's good anyway because you learn from those ones. It's the mistakes where you actually work out how to get it better. But don't let that stop you. Enjoy your singing. Have fun with it. Remember that there's always going to be the occasional supermodel, but that doesn't mean that the rest of us aren't beautiful. And there's occasionally going to be the Whitney Houstons and the Mariah Careys, but that doesn't mean that the rest of us can't enjoy our singing. Have a great time, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.